It's 1997, and John McClane is the President of the United States. But this time, Harrison Ford is playing the canned cowboy and goes by the name James Marshall. After making a controversial decision that is sure to scare off potential voters in the next election, we learn that President Marshall made that decision without the consent of his advisors, but once aboard his flying command center, nagging cabinet members are the least of his worries. Gary Oldman's Ivan Kirshanov is in the Hans Gruber role and successfully takes control of Air Force One by posing as the leader of a foreign news crew who are secretly working with a not-so-inconspicuous member of the President's Secret Service team. Like any die-hard plot, the gallery of rogues gets slimmer as we reach the film's end, but somehow circumstances still escalate for the heroes. And perhaps the only attempt the movie makes to deviate from formula, Oldman's deadly duel with Harrison Ford isn't the film's final fight. Instead, the Secret Service member / undercover terrorist reveals himself and delivers a fatal shot to Major Caldwell. Like most of the decisions contained within this high-octane action flick, the final fight inspires thoughts of what could have been instead of delivering a satisfying payoff. I couldn't help but wonder why the Secret Service member didn't help his terrorist buddies when he had the chance, or ask why he was even helping them in the first place. But then again, Air Force One builds its entire first act around a controversial policy that the film never even attempts to explain. I'll wait to reveal my grade until we speak to Sid, so let's hear what he has to say. Sid, welcome aboard. Please put your seat back in its upright position and
it's small talk.
Yeah, you're looking lovely, as always.
As always.
Well, first of all, when did you see Air Force One for the first time? Because surely you did not see it for the first time screening it for this show.
Yeah, this is my first. It was no. Yeah, Al, I saw it in the theater. I'm trying to think back to when I first saw it and my reaction as opposed to my reaction now. And it was, what the thing is, that movie is such a typical 90s movie. It's so 90s.
It's a time capsule.
Yeah. Well, I tell you, I found some of the parachute scenes enjoyable. In the very beginning, he's parachuting down, with the handgun as he's dropping, bam, nails the guy perfectly. That's a hell of a shot.
You might say he puts the chute in parachute.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he did. Yeah. Al and your puns. So then the people are jumping out of the airplane, and there's the close-up of that one woman just like smiling. Sometimes, movies like that I'll like for like a good Saturday afternoon or something to watch, just a good stupid action movie. That one I thought was a little hard to sit through. I gave it a 3 out of 10. Because okay. I don't really know exactly what we're supposed to make of the plot. Yeah, okay, they take them and they're trying to get them. It's kind of straightforward as far as
it does just kind of play out in a very straightforward way. There's no real twists and turns other than just the immediate kind of tension as things are escalating. What was it missing? There's other Harrison Ford movies, there's other action movies, there's other 90s movies that I would imagine would probably score higher than a 3.
I have to say, the things that kind of annoy me about movies sometimes, because let's say the plot's a little weak. I expect that a lot of times because of just the whole lowest common denominator.
Sure.
Broad appeal, whatever. So I know movies are they may not be the best, but if they get little things right, at least I can stay in the movie. These guys are just shooting machine guns all over this plane.
Yeah,
what I mean? I'm just
spraying
I can't,
down.
What are you kidding me? The movie should just the hole blows open and everyone flies out. The movie's over.
Al has a mom, a lioness, who was in town visiting, and she watched this with me, and I made a comment about it.
She's purdy.
Oh, Sid, please. She was in town. We watched the movie. I made a comment about that, and she very sincerely looked at me. She said, "It's Air Force One. The plane is bulletproof."
Oh.
As if that was the only issue.
Yeah.
It's just spraying machine guns wildly
right.
down the barrel of an airplane. All
no.
Because that was the only
That's
issue
funny.
I was pointing out that there logistically there might be some issues with that. But yeah.
I like movies that take place in one room. But here we have it just on the plane, and so it's kind of a big international movie, but it just seems like
I don't know. Because for me, again, I felt like this thing really could have benefited from just having, I don't know, some actual level of politics injected into it. It's terrorists, it's a president.
Yeah.
Again, the movie opens with him sort of making this controversial decision, or at least taking a stance that his team didn't know about, that he feels like is going to go against vote. The Bourne movies, those do seem to have a more sincere connection to politics and just real life affairs that makes it feel more real. Where this is just kind of feels like a cartoon the whole time.
America's good. These guys are bad. Other than the Secret Service guy who's a traitor, which there's no mystery there for us on that. Then, nothing new comes out about anybody. We're like, oh, I don't know. And Gary Oldman, I love Gary Oldman. He's a goddamn chameleon, right? I mean, he's Beethoven. He Commissioner Gordon,
My God,
Drexel,
yeah.
right? But this character, I'm like, oh, it's just so damn. I just was not impressed. I guess didn't do anything that was like, yeah, Gary Oldman's killing it.
Well, we'll transition into characters and performances now. You mentioned Gary Oldman. This has an incredible cast. I mean, there's a
Yes.
lot of really heavy hitters in this. They kind of take different approaches to it. Gary Oldman is definitely I don't know, leaning fully in. Harrison Ford is just giving a very Ford
Hmm.
performance. I feel like Glenn Close is, really kind of giving it her all, maybe taking it a little bit more seriously than other people are. But we've got a
Yeah.
William H. Macy in here, that
Yeah.
overall, I don't know, what are your thoughts on the characters and performances in the movie?
First, let me just say I love in my notes I have Bookman shows up, which is, Philip Baker Hall. I
Yes.
love Philip Baker Hall. Just seeing him come in, I mean, the guy just is in the scene for a minute, and I just love watching him. He's
So
great.
extra points for the Philip Baker Hall cameo.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
copy that.
Characters and performance, I gave a 5 out of 10, and that's kind of because I didn't think anything was great. I
Sure.
didn't think anything was horrible. I love the idea of Glenn Close as the vice president. I'm like, oh yeah, Glenn Close. I forgot she was in this. But like you said, I mean, she was taking it too a little more serious, but almost too serious at some point. Like, I
Yeah,
don't know. Like,
I think she thought maybe she was in an episode of The West Wing, which I know doesn't
yeah,
track in terms of when that would have been out versus when this movie is out, maybe. But
sure.
there's a
Yeah,
little bit of an identity crisis in that
yeah.
way, where there's kind of characters that feel like they're plucked from different movies. I think that kind of maybe goes back to the direction a bit more than anything, and an ability to.
Right. Yeah, I don't necessarily think that anyone's like, oh, they did a bad acting job.
Well,
But
I know this is the first episode, but I also have it on good authority that Glenn Close does listen to the podcast. So I'm glad that you clarified
oh
that. I
yeah,
wouldn't want
yeah,
her to
yeah,
think
yeah.
that you were taking a shot.
One of the guys on the plane, right?
Mhm.
In the beginning, President gets on the Air Force One. He's all ready to watch the game. Asshole ruins the score for him. Tells him who won. Okay, right off
Completely
the bat. It's
unnecessary.
like it's like not cool at all. Like, why would you do that, right? Just
Yeah.
come on, just say, "Did you see the game, sir?"
Uh,
So that guy, I don't know if he died. I hope he got at least shot.
well, at the very least, the president survived. So I'm sure once he got back on the ground, he took care of that guy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He fired him, right?
Air Force One 2 is all about that guy getting fired.
Yeah.
Next up, we've got visual storytelling.
Well, with visual storytelling, it's all right in the sense that in that simple way of like just like a visual plot, it's fine.
Sure.
As far as like them using images to not just as a map, but that and even that like it wasn't the worst. It's definitely, I think, probably my highest rating is the visual storytelling because yeah, you know what, and actually for the times too, some of the plane scenes, those are actually pretty good for the time period. And they did the whole thing at the end, right? Typical get off my plane, right? I don't know. People, I think, probably cheered in the theater when they said that. I don't remember.
Sure.
Like now, it's kind of an eye roll. I'm okay with the whole pulling the sheet, right? He goes flying out, but I love that they break his neck first. Okay, breaks his neck. I was just a little like being a little picky, but just like, yeah, that kind of annoyed me. I don't know why. But then they showed him floating down with his neck broken. That made it all okay
It
for me.
won you
That was just
back.
that shot was great, dude. Yeah, he just heads over to the side, tongue hanging out. Just floating down. Oh, yeah. I don't know. Honestly, I gave it a 6 out of 10 for visual storytelling.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, this is director of photography, Michael Balahas, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Legendary director of photography. He did little movie called Goodfellas. You might be familiar with Dracula. I mean, a huge
Yeah,
resume of film. So yeah, I mean, the movie looks great. I mean, technically, it's
sure.
down. There are a lot of. It is a special effects movie in many ways because obviously they're not really flying around and breaking Gary Oldman's neck and things like that. So the visual storytelling got a lot of got high points from me, and it's sort of one of the standouts. The next category then is use of sound, sort of very similar to the
Hmm.
visual storytelling and the cinematography and the edit. The use of sound in this movie is it's technically very sound. But well, I guess I'll start out by saying before we get to the music specifically from a sound design standpoint, what were your thoughts on it, Sid? Did you feel like you were in the plane? Was
No, yeah, that's
yeah,
my problem. Is like I love a plane movie, a train movie, but the whole thing is you got to hear the sound, man. You got to always hear the sound of the train going. That's what makes
sure,
it great. It's like it's just very quiet, it's
right.
smooth. You could be on the ground in a building, which I'm sure they are, right? And so,
But no, you're right.
yeah,
There's no real difference. Like when they go back to the White House,
yeah,
you know,
there's
it
no,
doesn't
yeah,
really feel different from what they're on the plane
right,
sound design perspective, other than maybe
yeah,
there's just more phone ringings and things that
right.
on the ground.
I went out into the other room, and my dad was out there watching him Hateful Eight.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, and I just thought though, just like as I'm doing something in the kitchen, I'm listening to it, and I'm like, yeah, man, the sound is great. You hear the storm outside the entire time. You never forget that you're in this cabin in the snowstorm. And I was thinking about the plane and that movie, and I'm just like, yeah, I didn't care for it though.
Well, I love that there's a whole family of cinema sloths just constantly watching movies in the tree. That's very
Yeah, yeah. And
uh,
that's what I mean by kitchen. It's a branch we have that's got like a bunch of different leaves on it. We call it the pantry.
brilliant, brilliant pun.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Pantry.
Well, in addition, obviously, we talked about the sound design, like you said, it wasn't really as immersive. You didn't necessarily feel like you were on the plane. What about the use of music in this? It's an action movie. It's designed around
Yeah.
tension. I
I
mean,
mean,
I feel like the
yeah,
music does help aid the tension and build things like that. I mean, it is well scored, albeit it's not as memorable as, some other scores or
sure.
films. That was probably aided by the fact that the film isn't that memorable.
Like you said, the music did help the scenes definitely, and gave it, yeah, they gave it definitely some energy because there was definitely a few scenes where I'm just like, you just kind of just get into it, you're watching it and all of a sudden you're like, oh yeah, man, this is actually God, that's actually a good scene right there, and my problem with the music is like I feel like you could just replace it with any other 90s score music. Some movies have great soundtracks like Rushmore, right? And then you've got movies that I don't know, like you said, okay, it does its job, yeah, as a an action movie, but it's not the most memorable score.
Well, I was just saying, I think there's a fun opportunity too when you're hanging out with the president in his downtime in his quarters. What is he listening to? What did he? This is 1997. This is the same year Jackie Brown came out, a movie with a phenomenal
Right.
soundtrack.
Yeah,
Not that you're going to have a Tarantino style soundtrack in
sure.
a movie like this, but I do think there are some lost opportunities for maybe just a track or two that is just centered around like what is President Marshall listen to in his downtime.
Right, right.
How fun would it be to see him gunning down some terrorists just to one of his favorite tracks that comes on in the radio in Air
Yeah,
Force.
yeah.
But there's
Exactly.
really
That's pretty yeah.
no attempts to be inventive. It's such a straightforward kind of formulaic movie. So that being said, use
Yeah.
of sound. What would you give it?
I gave Use of Sound a 3 out of 10.
3 out of 10. Sid is one tough sloth. I'm not gonna lie.
Here's the thing. It's like sometimes I feel like, oh, is that too low? But then I just start thinking of, what movies are ranking up higher, and there's so many more that I can, that I'm like, no, that movie's a 5, or that's and then I just can't go back. I keep going back to the I'm just not a fan of not hearing that plain sound, not that.
I think that's fair. My system, the way I do it is I think every movie starts as a 5. To me, that's neutral. And
Sure.
if something starts to be a negative and pull me back, that's gonna drop it down. If things are a positive, that's gonna push it up. I try not to compare movies to other movies.
No, no, I know that we've discussed this other times too about comparing movies to other movies or not. But I feel like there's so many times that other movies are using things from other movies. How can you
Sure.
not?
Sure.
It's like yeah, well they obviously saw that movie, so
Right.
I'm gonna compare it to it.
And look,
Yeah,
even in the context of this show, we talk about three movies in the body of a show, and it's hard not to. I mean, this episode it's a little easier. Air Force One is it would be difficult to compare it to a United 93 or a, an
yeah.
airplane. But
Not
some
as
of our
funny as United 93 was, right?
yeah,
No,
United
yeah,
93
yeah.
really
It was
does
a it
stand the
was
test
a
of time.
summer comedy, wasn't it?
Classic, classic. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. Now we're on our final category of theme. Once you give this one a score, we're gonna lock it in. While then I'll reveal my score for Air Force One. This movie, um, not exactly overflowing with themes, not exactly a thoughtful picture, like I said in the beginning, almost goes out of its way to not take a political stance on anything. I mean, President Marshall's tie might as well be purple. It just,
Yeah. Yeah.
he, it's, anyway, I digress. When it comes to themes, Sid, I don't know. I'm going to put you on the spot. If you had to identify a theme that this movie contains, could you even do it?
Pro America. That's what it's one of those movies.
Yippee-ki-yay.
That's
Absolutely.
the theme is America is the powerful country. That's really it. It's like it's that straightforward, I feel like.
I wouldn't call it a west. It's not quite a western. I mean, it's sort of a showdown movie. There's another world where this is
Hmm.
sort of the mayor of a town who's on a stagecoach that gets, or a train or something, that gets taken over. I feel like this movie does try to traverse some themes of just kind of the reckless rebel and doesn't need anything more than intuition to kind of fight the good fight.
That's the thing too. It's kind of like I'm right because I think I'm right.
Conviction for the sake of conviction.
God, yeah, it's just like we're God. I'm God's chosen one. Like you said, yeah, conviction for conviction's sake. Is that
Yeah.
what you said?
I did. I did say
Okay. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
In the opposite order, but yeah, I did say that I can.
Oh,
I don't know. I don't want to pick on this movie because I know that it has a soft spot in a lot of people's hearts. I know in today's times, there are probably a lot of people that watch a movie like this and really align with some of the themes that we just identified. This idea of just
yeah.
rah rah go us, and
Right.
and to me, if I'm being transparent, yeah, it did not resonate with me in that way. I felt like it felt kind of silly. Dare I say, it felt a little dumb. If it had the courage to just take a stance and define these characters in any way. I mean, it almost felt like reality TV. They're in this circumstance. You don't really need to know why there's drama, but there's just drama and you're just meant to watch it. Things kind of peak in this cartoonish way, but a lot of the movie takes itself a little too seriously to ever truly be funny. This was well before the days where every action movie there's more jokes than there are punches. This
Yeah.
this is a very earnest attempt, I think, to deliver what at the time a lot of people thought was what a political thriller should deliver. I'm curious, Sid, what did you give the theme? 1 out of 10,
I gave it a 3 out of 10.
a 3 out of 10. Sid,
Yeah. My grading system with movies, like when I look at a movie, I look at it as a 1 to 5. Okay, it's one is no good, two is okay, three is good,
acceptable.
good, three is good.
Okay,
You know what I mean? I mean, it's good. Is it great? No, it's good.
okay,
Right? Four is very good, and five's excellent.
right.
So the middle's good because that's what I want most movies to be. Okay, I figure you need to at least be good, to be worth anything. So then there's okay, which is okay is exactly what it said. Yeah, it's okay. I've seen movies that were terrible that I hate that are ones, and this definitely wasn't a good movie, right? But it was an okay movie, or I'm saying whatever movie I'm talking about. So what I find I do is I just do that, and then I just double the number to get my score for 10.
I try to
Yeah.
present a versatile rubric. I'm going to run it back and tell you, Sid, you gave the plot a 3, you gave the characters and performances a 5, you gave the visual storytelling a 6, indeed your highest category. You gave the use of sound a 3 and the theme a 3. That brings us to a total of 40 out of 100. So I'm curious, how does that translate on your scale? Would that be a 2, a 3?
Well, I gave it as a grade, I would give it like a D plus.
Okay.
But on my scale, it's a two. It's an okay movie. At 2 out of 5, 4 out of 10, 40%. So
I'm gonna tell you now what my my score was. To your three, I gave the plot a 3.5. So half a
okay.
point more. For characters and performances, you gave it a 5, I gave it a 6. So I was a little more kind. Visual storytelling, to your 6, I gave it a 6.5. Sid, we're tracking. We're pretty.
Yeah.
The biggest discrepancy comes from the use of sound. You
Mm.
gave the movie a 3, I gave it an 8.
Oh
And I'll
wow.
take a
Yeah.
second to defend it because I do feel like this film is very technically sound. Like I said, I feel like the score does what a score is supposed to do. It enhances the tension, it enhances the emotion. Like I said, it's not super memorable, but I do think the use of sound is far and away from me the high points in the movie. I gave it an 8. And then for theme, to your 3, I gave it a 4. So for me, that's a 58. I'm sorry,
Mm.
56. A 56 to your 40. On our scale here, we kind of go in chunks of 20. So I gave it a C. I feel like this movie is well intentioned. It's a product of the time. Someday you and I will get into some other movies, Sid, that maybe are a little more smug, have a bit of a different intention. I do feel like this movie was well intentioned and made by good filmmakers. Wolfgang Peterson was the
Sure.
director of this. He's made some other movies like In the Line of Fire, The Perfect Storm, Troy, maybe not the most well remembered or well
Oh
loved
yeah,
movie
yeah.
of all time. Leave us a comment. Let us know how much you like Troy. Otherwise, Sid, I really am glad that you came on. If you were running for president, I would vote for you, regardless
Oh,
of your
thanks.
policy.
Yeah.
I just want you to know that that's the kind of friend I am. Will you come back? Will you come back to the jungle and review another picture with me?
I absolutely will.
Amazing.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, until
It
next
may
time.
take me a while to crawl over here, but I will get here.
Well, hey, Sid, until next time, hang in there, pal. Platinum Plastic isn't just a proud sponsor of Real Talk. They're also the home for all our new designs and merchandise. Follow Platinum Plastic on Redbubble by clicking the link in the description and see all our A-plus gear. That's Platinum Plastic on Redbubble for all your Real Talk merch. Subscribe to the channel now and press the bell icon so you don't miss a thing. If you're going to talk movies, make sure it's Real Talk.